Hey everybody, well, we know so much has changed during the pandemic, but people, you are resilient and you have found ways to be living better now. So has my guest today, Will Breman. Will is so happy to have you here today. He is a Santa Barbara-based singer-songwriter. He was a semi-finalist on The Voice, NBC's The Voice, on Coach John Legend's team.
Together you will see just why I'm running this whole. Now that the Papa been a joke, and I won't do this equation, then I guess I'll have to show you the door. There is no need to say you love me. It would be better left unsaid.
And as someone with Asperger's syndrome has also brought so much awareness to autism. So, Will, you are a lot of things to a lot of people, but mostly what you are is somebody who brings hope and joy, period, through your musical ability. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, we recognize you. Do you have your blue hair today? You have blue?
Yeah, I do. It's still there.
There, it's still
still
blue.
there.
Okay.
It's kind of faded to a lighter blue.
Ooh,
but,
lighter blue's good. Lighter
Yeah.
blue's good. You can change that up. And you're recognized, because of that blue hair. You have been recognized through this journey. But you're also, of course, known for your amazing musical talents and your high energy and just that ability to bring that awareness to autism. And really the songs that you write are quite beautiful too. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But so tell me, what has been the biggest change to your life during this pandemic?
Well, it's kind of turned my life a little bit upside down. Coming off of a show like NBC's The Voice, because those seasons have such a quick turnaround, the emphasis is definitely, or I guess I should say the burden is definitely on me to really make the most out of that time that I have, which is a limited time, to be frank. And so this entire year I was going to really be supplementing through touring. I'm dual citizen, so I would have done a whole US-Canada tour. And unfortunately, all of that just got canceled. All of that just got completely shoved under the rug. But for me, one of the things that I try to do in my own life is I try to make possibilities out of those situations. It's the whole lemons to lemonade sort of scenario for sure. But for me, that's given me a lot of time to really regroup, really work on some other areas of my branding, putting out YouTube videos, writing new songs, getting new projects taken care of so that when 2021 hits, when we finally get that vaccine, not only am I touring, but I have all this other repertoire under my belt and a much wider reach than I would have had otherwise.
It's really going to be a blessing in the end. It really is. And with your videos too, I noticed that on YouTube and on your social media channels, you make your videos, you do the graphics, you do the editing. And so tell me a little bit about these videos. Tell me where we can find them. Tell me what we can expect when we're seeing that.
Okay, so my entire social media is under the same handle, Will Breman Music. I figured, we might as well be consistent, right? And editing and making videos now has been kind of a new skill that I've had to learn. And it's one of those hobbies that I've tried to create during the pandemic.
Mostly believe that it all went to waste. Cause while I was on my hustle, you were on the gram, stunting for some photos and likes. Could've done with
because otherwise I would look to editors for that sort of thing. I would outsource for that. And so for me to learn that new skill and to try and make that more of my own vision, that's part of the goal, is to make it more of something that is what is in my head, transferred outward, to the world. But also it saves me money, to be very, very frank. And when you are a musician, even one on The Voice, you do have to wear a lot of hats. You do have to really look for all these gigs, and you have to really work hard at it. And it's not an expensive, how should I put it? It is not, I would probably be better off if I were a lawyer or a doctor or something for sure. But because music for me is so fulfilling, I don't mind the lack of income.
That's good. Well, you know what? It takes a lot of ability, a lot of skill to really teach yourself that. And on that same note, you're good at teaching yourself things, right? So you've taught yourself all these musical instruments. Tell me about all the different things that you've done as far as learning, because you loop. Tell us about looping your music. So you're kind of a one-man band.
Right.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Well, I have to give it to my uncle and to one of my cousins, because they were the first two people to really instill that love for guitar. And it came by chance, because prior to that, I was into video games. I was into computer stuff. I was into, just being inside and playing on my phone or watching TV or that sort of thing. And when I moved to my new house, when my family moved, I was about 13, and we didn't have cable for a while. We didn't have all those things set up for like a good 2 months. And so I had this guitar that my uncle gave me and an Eagles songbook that one of my cousins gave me to try and motivate me to play guitar. And I never really looked at it until then. And so to pass the time, I would just learn songs. Like the first song I learned was like the easy version of Hotel California. And after a while, as I progressed at it, I just became hooked, and it became kind of my single interest. And through that, I've learned a lot of instruments. I taught myself banjo, mandolin, electric bass, basically anything with strings and frets. And, all of that kind of helped its way into like my musical journey, and I've had an eclectic one. I did jazz for a bit. I was in metal for a time. I toured as a banjo player in a bluegrass band for a while. And while I loved the band aspect, I realized I wasn't getting paid as much as when I did solo gigs. So I found live looping. And live looping is essentially, for those who don't know, I have a giant array of guitar pedals. And one of those pedals, which is this giant, it's about the size, like 3 times the size of my head. It looks like a giant picture frame almost. I press a button and I can record what I play on my guitar or on some outboard stuff like a keyboard or maybe a drum set, or even with my vocals, I could sing into this box, press that button again, and it records what I play and then plays it back in a continuous loop. So it's always playing the same thing over and over again. And so the idea when I started doing it is that I would have the sound of a giant band, like a 3 or 4 piece band, but I wouldn't be paying 3 or 4 other band members, It was a way to get my footing in the Santa Barbara area while doing something unique, and also saving some time, saving some money, and then from an arranging perspective, being able to get out the exact arrangement of certain instruments that I had in here out there.
Very good. That's awesome. So you're in complete control of what that is going to sound like and what that's going to be like for you. So that's awesome. Really awesome. Tell me, during the pandemic then, what is the one thing, maybe that's it, but what is the one thing that you started to do that you want to hold on to for the rest of your life?
Oh man, I started writing, I got back into writing. For a while I kind of put it on hold. I write slowly because I like writing on concepts. But when I was on the show, I learned a lot of great songwriting advice from John Legend. And he writes from a much different perspective than I do. He writes melody first, for example, whereas I would write concept first. And so this season has definitely been an exercise in trying to write songs from that perspective, just to see what comes up. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks, And I think that exercise in writing and just kind of letting go of these premonitions that I had as a songwriter has been really fruitful. I've definitely experienced a lot of growth in who I am as a writer and who I am as a person.
Do your songs have particular messages that you want to convey?
I try to convey some stuff in my songs. I think the main thing across the board is I want to write songs that are honest. I want to write songs that are meaningful and more, I guess, dense than what you would hear normally on the radio, where everything is very, very relatable. I would rather it be very personable, you know? I see it as sort of the difference between goodness, you know, writing a novel by Annie Dillard, for example, who writes such dense, poetic prose, and writing, I don't know, like a Twilight novel where it's very straightforward and anyone can relate to it.
You know, I saw on your Facebook, you had a couple different songs that I had seen, a couple of them that stand out to me. There was one called Tried, and one called Broken Leg. But Tried, you had a line in there that was just so catchy, because how's that go? A little bit of effort. How's that line go?
Don't tell me you tried, because that implies that you put in just a little bit of effort.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell me that you tried, because that implies that you put in a little bit of effort. So to your point, your writing is really different. It's really it's really on a different level. It's really storytelling.
Oh, thank you.
So really, really cool. I really like that. It was very catchy. So all right. Well, so Will, where can we hear your music?
Well, you could find me on my website, willbremanmusic.com. For those who are wondering, my last name is spelled Breman, willbremanmusic.com, or on any of my social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, all those places under the same handle, Will Breman Music. You could find my blind audition and other songs I did on the show on NBC The Voice's YouTube. And and I'm also, all of my music is available for purchase or for streaming on Apple Music, on Amazon, on Spotify, and anywhere you get your streaming.
Thank you so much, Will. So thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, such a joy to talk to you today.
Of course, thank you.
You're making a big difference, and you're really showing us that during this pandemic, the things that you've taught yourself, now that you're doing, that is really going to impact your life for the rest of your life now. Time well spent. So thank you for that. Okay.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks so much for being with us today. Until next time, keep living better now.